What's up everybody, my name is Wreck-It Rob, and today we have Nintendo's working conditions, a potential Zelda maker, and news about Breath of the Wild 2. So in my tired stupor this morning, I came across this article from Kotaku. Now this article caught my eye because it has a title that kind of confirms something that I already thought in the past, and that Breath of the Wild 2 is actually just repurposed DLC ideas. Now in this article, a reporter was able to sit down with Zelda's lead producer Eiji Aonuma and find out a couple of details on a few of the upcoming games that they have. Now the article starts out by saying that their main reason for remaking the game was the fact that the original Link's Awakening is so hard to come across nowadays. He also goes into talking about that some of the things that he wanted to do were incorporating new elements to the series. He wanted to make it kind of a refreshed version for those who played the original games, and incorporating an all-around new experience to them. One of the main things he wanted to add was a dungeon editor. Now they wanted to incorporate this dungeon editor because they wanted to give the player some kind of ability to edit some of the puzzles that were in the game. They also go into talking about how they arrive on the decision of to go between a sequel and a remake, because some ideas would just fit better with one of the two. Aonuma is also quoted with saying that it's a little bit challenging to remake a game as opposed to creating a sequel, and they wanted to take both new and old perspectives into consideration when they were making this remake. When asked if he would consider making a Zelda maker, Aonuma was quoted saying, "I can't predict the future, but if people do love this idea of arranging dungeons, I'll keep that in mind going forward." So in the future, could we see a potential Zelda maker? I don't know. Personally, I think it would be fun, and I would definitely play it. Aonuma also goes into talking about the button mapping of Breath of the Wild and why they chose to not allow players to do their own button mapping. Aonuma said that it would be letting go of their responsibility as developers if they allowed players to do all the button mapping, feeling that it would be pushing off some of the game mechanics on them. When asked about the next innovation in the Zelda series, Aonuma remained secretive. And when asked if there was anything that he could have done better, he said that he would use his ideas that he has for the next installment in the Zelda series. The article then goes into talking about the working conditions at Nintendo, and how even during the development of the massive Breath of the Wild game, workers were still given leeway in their schedules, allowing them to achieve their goals without feeling overexerted. Now personally, I think this is really nice when you have companies like Amazon who reportedly overwork their workers a lot. It's nice to see a company who seemingly cares about their workers enough to give them this flexibility. He was then asked what made him and his team decide to make a sequel to Breath of the Wild as opposed to making more DLCs for it. He responded, "When we released the DLC for Breath of the Wild, we realized that this is a great way to add more elements to the same world. But when it comes down to technical things, DLC is pretty much data. You're adding data to a pre-existing title. And so when we wanted to add bigger changes, DLC is not enough, and that's why we thought maybe a sequel would be a good fit." When asked if this new game was intended to be a DLC, he responded, "Initially we were thinking of just DLC ideas, but then we had a lot of ideas and said, this is too many ideas, let's just make one new game and start from scratch." Now this is refreshing and a little odd for a game nowadays. Traditionally what you would see is a game like Breath of the Wild put out multiple DLCs, banking on the same game, making them all paid, and having them cash in on the same software for years to come. However, this was a suspicion that I had for a while that this game was going to be just a repurposed DLC. Ever since I first saw the trailer, that's kind of what I thought, so the fact that they're publicly saying this now makes a lot of sense to me. For those of you who haven't seen it, here's that trailer. Everything about the trailer kind of felt to me like it was just going to be a DLC, and when they came out with it saying that it was going to be a new game, I kind of figured that that was the route that they took. Nevertheless, I'm super excited for the game. I know that I love Breath of the Wild, as well as a ton of people across the planet. I mean, this was the most successful game of 2017. That's about it for this video, but I want to know what your thoughts are. Are you excited for the sequel of Breath of the Wild, or do you feel like they should have just left it in DLC? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure that if you enjoyed the video to hit that like button down below, and wreck that subscribe button for me if you're new here. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Later!